Hi there, it's John from Commercial Real Estate Online. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the topic of shopping centre leasing. So today I want to share the planning process when it comes to shopping centre leasing, because shopping centres are indeed one of the most important classes of investment property anywhere in the world. In saying that, they are very large, high value, but they can also be small. They can have 3 or 4 shops. They can have 5 shops. Maybe they have an anchor tenant plus a few shops. Whatever it is, it's a shopping centre. So in this particular article, I'm going to give you some tips around creating a leasing plan for your leasing activities and perhaps management in a shopping centre. Now I'm going to take you through my notes, deliberately so, because I've got these notes also on the website that you might want to print off as well. Now, for your awareness, this is the post at the website, From Vacancy to Vibrancy, Revitalising Shopping Centres Through Strategic Leasing. And the website for us is commercial-real-estate-training.com. So as I take you through this particular topic, if you would like it to print it and use it, of course you can from the website. So let's go now into this particular topic and I'll take you through the issues. I am going to stop from time to time to help you with different strategies and ideas. I've had a lot to do with shopping centres over the years, and some are very large, some were very small, and investors all through that mix. So let's go further and go into this. And as I said, I will be stopping from time to time. So the topic is essential shopping centre leasing planning, and there is the address of the post for you. And as I said, it's Vacancy to Vibrancy, Revitalising Shopping Centres Through Strategic Leasing, and the article is right here. So please get it, use it, print it off, and all the categories are there for you as well. So let's go further. So when you have a retail shopping centre to lease or manage, there are many tenant or leasing issues to investigate. And indeed, the leasing people behind retail and the leasing people behind shopping centre management are usually the most skillful, because they have so many things to balance, so many things to take into account for the tenants, the landlords, the customers. And they get to know all of those parties very well, very deeply, the stakeholders. So it's not just a matter of finding a tenant to fill a vacancy. It is a matter of finding the right tenant that matches the property, the customer base, and the tenancy mix. As I did say to you, they are the stakeholders. And given that I've had a lot to do with shopping centres over the years, when I look at a shopping centre, I walk into the property. I take my notebook, I walk around. I look at what the customers are doing, where they're going, where they're coming in, how long they're staying, what attraction factors are there within the property design, the layout, the tenancy mix, who are the bigger tenants, who are the better tenants, and I look at stock levels as well. So there's many different things there to check and work with in leasing. So a strategic leasing plan addresses the requirements of what I have mentioned, and as part of that, start by assessing all the facts that you have and can see. That's why I walk into the shopping centre with my notebook, take photographs, take notes. Sometimes I do that with competing properties, and that's a good thing because you can see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and you can adjust around what you see. So you look at your customer base, the sales levels, the best tenants, the anchor tenants, and the local area demographics. So what do? You look around the property. Ask questions about the property, the tenancy mix, and the people visiting. Now, there's nothing wrong with you talking to the customers. If it's your shopping centre from a leasing or management perspective, there is nothing wrong with you stopping the customer, showing them your business card and saying, would you mind sharing some ideas about this shopping centre for me? Because I'm doing a survey. It's that simple. So when you look at the property, where are the weaknesses and the opportunities? What needs to change? What are your priorities in addressing upgrades, the tenant relocations, the changes, and property performance? So, in retail, one particular aspect of retail leasing, which is quite common, Many landlords don't like to give options for further terms. And there's a very good reason for that. Because options remove the landlord's ability to shape the property over time. And in the medium to larger shopping centres, the landlord needs to make changes. And an option for a particular tenant could frustrate that change. Indeed, stop that change. So once there's an option there, the landlord can't do anything with that tenancy space until the option is extinguished. So who are the stakeholders? Establishing the leasing plan requires considering all of the issues and the stakeholders. Now, who are they? They are the tenants, the landlords, the customers, the financiers, all of those people. And you have different relationships to all of them if you are the centre manager or the leasing manager. So a checklist approach is an excellent way to approach this, and there are potentially many issues to raise and consider. At the website, I have many different checklists for shopping centres, and this particular article is one of those. So from my information I'm sharing at the website, you can also build your checklist for looking at tenant matters, expansion, contraction and relocation. And of course, not all retail properties are the same given the location factors, the layouts. So build your leasing plan around what you have in the property and what you can do to improve it, and know what your targets are over time. And as a matter of fact, it can take years to complete a property change program that has a leasing outcome. Now, the words I used earlier were expansion, contraction and relocation. That's why you have a leasing plan. The leasing plan is actually part of the business plan for the retail asset. So as every tenant gets to the end of a lease, you then have choices to make and replacement occupants to be found. Potentially, maybe not, but potentially. Consider the property design, the vacancy factors, current and new, and the competing properties in the region. So if I'm leasing or managing a shopping centre, I will definitely spend time going to the other retail properties in the region, within the surrounding 5 miles or so. I will look at what they're doing, what they're not doing, their vacancy factors. I'll try and get an understanding of their better tenants, their low-performing tenants, their customer base. I'll look at the property design, the car parking, the tenant flow, the customer flow. I'll also look at the market rents if I can get them. So do a full assessment of competing properties to identify who they attract as customers, how successful they are, and how they compare to your property. Because they'll be attracting your tenants, like it or not. And when they do, you get a vacancy. So why not attract their tenants to your property? Find reasons why the tenants from competing properties should move to your property. When you have considered all of the factors mentioned, you are ready to start creating your shopping centre leasing plan. And once created, you can and should improve and update the leasing plan every quarter, given the property changes and the economic pressures from the location. So in saying that, we all know that retail has changed a lot. It's changed a lot because of online shopping. That means that the tenants within your shopping centre will be different, and you'll need to decide whether they are relevant to your property for the future. That's why you have a leasing plan. And I like to categorise tenants to A, B and C, perhaps even D. D means the tenants I don't want. Maybe D means dumped. Maybe at the end of the lease they go. But A, B and C means category A, the best tenants that I have to keep. Category B, the good tenants I want to keep. And C, the tenants I don't really worry about either way, whatever happens. So that's a leasing plan. And you do that at the start of a financial year with your tenancy mix, and you keep an eye on the vacancies as well. So what are your leasing plan targets? What are you trying to achieve with this plan when the leasing plan is drafted and approved? It is merged into your property's business plan. Now, the business plan for a retail asset is just so important. Every retail property should have a business plan that addresses and includes all of these issues. So here we go with a list. This list can be created for your property as well, and then you can add things to it as you go. So the tenancy mix review. Who are your best tenants and why is that? Of course, they are your A-class tenants. Number 2, the anchor tenant review. How are the anchor tenants tracking now? And can they improve in any particular way? Staying close to the anchor tenants is always a good idea, so you know that they are doing what they're doing in advance with the tenancy upgrades and the changes. So if an anchor tenant is going to change or do something that could influence trade in their property or the shopping centre overall, you need to know that in advance. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So how are your anchor tenants tracking today in trade? That's a question it's worth investigating. So market rents. As you consider what your market rents should be, assess the activities and the rents in nearby retail properties that could be competitive to your property. So market rents are variable and include incentives, gross rents, net rents, face rents, and effective rents. So this means that there is a rent, but how was it structured? When a rent was set at the beginning of a negotiation, did you have to give away incentives? Because all of those numbers have an impact on the true effective rent, and the effective rent will have an impact on the true value for the property. Of course, there are tenancy size issues and types that will also place pressure on rentals. The larger the tenant, the lesser the rent per square metre or per square foot, whichever way you measure it. Specialty tenants, complete a SWOT review of your existing tenancy mix and rank all of the tenants into the merchandise groups and the suitability categories. So what I said to you there was A, B and C. And then that goes into the leasing plan. I did also say D, given that the D tenants could be the ones that you don't want ever again. So when the tenant gets to the end of a lease, you know what you're going to do with them. You're going to ask them to leave, and then you're going to find someone else to fill that spot. Number 5, a service tenant review. You will have a few of these probably, so know what they do for your property performance plan. Now, it could be a bank, it could be a post office, something like that. Service tenants are required because they are a destination type tenant. Don't get a lot of them into your property, but have a few that are worthwhile. As I said, post offices. Also, there could be a specific type of tenant, a banker, a financier, maybe a mortgage broker, maybe some legal officers, whatever it is. Number 6, other tenants review. Now, this can be very broad because there's all sorts of things in this, including car detailing, bulky goods retail, pad-type retail tenants in the exterior of the property around the car park. So look at the other tenants that you've got. Know if they do enhance people visiting your property. And then, of course, categorise them separately in your business plan and leasing plan. So in your leasing plan, you've got the anchor tenants, the specialty tenants, the service tenants, and the other tenants. Go further. Number 7, think about the zones and the property layouts. Get some plans and drawings of the particular areas in the asset, such as entranceways, malls, common areas, food courts, fashion zones, car parking, and transport drop-off zones. Now, when I look at a shopping centre, I actually get the plans and then I draw on the plans the clusters that I want to work with over time from a leasing perspective. Now, most shopping centres of medium to large size will have a food court of some sort, and that's fine. So a food court is a cluster. Then you might want another cluster, which is maybe a sports goods and fitness cluster. Then you might have a ladies' fashion cluster. Then you might have a men's fashion cluster. When you create the clusters, you can put tenants into them, which then benefit the sales of people around them or tenants around them. Number 8, special situations and considerations. In a retail property, you will work towards change situations. You always have to understand what they are and how they can impact the property occupancy. So change situations do happen. They are necessary, and as part of the business plan and the leasing plan, you must have them. So change situations are these: relocating a tenant to a better spot, expansion of a tenant, contraction of a tenant. Maybe it's changes around the food court to encourage more leased areas. Maybe it's a refurbishment program. Maybe there are some design factors with the doorways, with the car parking. So capital works programs usually create a lot of work in a shopping centre, and the capital works programs are major works programs as well. And occasionally in a shopping centre you will see that they have to change the escalators because the escalators have been there too long. That's a huge capital works program, and it goes on for weeks. So there has to be a real strategy around what are you going to do with customers? How are you going to move people around in the property during that time? What special allowances do you need to have with the signage, with the leasing, with the tenants trading? Will the tenants in certain parts of the property suffer because of the shutdown of the escalators? Because changing escalators takes probably 3 or 4 weeks. By the time you shut it down, remove the old one, change the fittings for the new one, put the new one in, and then commission it. Let's go to item number 9. Maintenance and capital works programs plus property upgrades. Now, a shopping centre is a property of high maintenance and upgrade activity. Of course it is. Why is that? Because you have so many tenants there, smaller tenants. You have so many customers visiting the property. You have the services and amenities, the toilets, the common areas, the stages, the back of house areas, the unloading zones. There's so many things going on. That's where you have your property upgrades and your maintenance programs and the capital works. So when tenants leave or move, there are opportunities to lift the property presentation and get things done. It could be in renovating that shop or that area, that zone. That's where maintenance and capital programs are very valuable, very useful. So number 10, the last point in this list. Retail marketing of the centre and the tenancy mix. As a final note, and when you're considering your leasing plan, that's why you think about these things. When you're thinking about your leasing plan, consider the marketing plan for the property, how it works, and when it would be good to change and or move the tenants around. So build a timeline for those marketing changes and a budget of rents and costs. So the marketing plan dovetails into the shifts and changes that you have within the tenancy mix across the year. Again, that's why you have a leasing plan, a marketing plan over here, also a business plan for the asset. They all come together. They come together before the financial year starts. And then throughout the financial year, they are either changed monthly, changed quarterly, and certainly tracked every month throughout the year. So I've given you a lot of ideas here. These elements will help you establish and implement a leasing plan for the tenancy mix in your retail shopping centre. So establish the plan as soon as you can, as soon as you take over the property for leasing or management, and then update it quarterly. Now, today I'm talking about the particular post which I've mentioned here, and there is the link. Please visit the post. As I said, it's there for you to print. That's why I've got it there. From vacancy to vibrancy, revitalizing shopping centres through strategic leasing. If you're a retail shopping centre person, it's a very specialised part of the property market. And indeed, I've had things to do with various properties, various sizes, various locations throughout the Asia Pacific region. And this particular size shopping centre is something I would have been involved in at different times throughout my career. So there's a lot of strategies in that sort of thing. That's why you become a leasing expert, a centre management expert, a retail property expert, an investment strategist, if you like. So that's it for today. Don't forget to visit the post. There is the post address. And I'll see you at the website and share some more ideas with you about commercial, retail and industrial leasing, sales, marketing, and all those strategies to help you build your real estate business. Catch you soon.